Can you believe the shit I have to put up with? Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and Nahanni Fontaine completely misled the House. Recently, she made some accusations that are completely false, and I'm going to prove them false. So, starting off, she is using the death of MP Joe Cox, the British MP who was recently murdered, to push her professional victim persona, which is something that we talked about during the campaign. And you know what? I wanted to just leave it alone. We confronted her on an issue, and I was just going to leave it at that because, you know, there's other things that followed, but I just felt like, you know what? What's the point? It's just stupidity. But things have changed. So she claimed during session at the Manitoba Legislative Building recently that she claims that during a debate she faced vitriolic and attacking speech, culminating in having to be escorted out of a forum by a good 10 people while a man stood at the front exit screaming profanities at her while declaring she was going to get it. Check out this video.
I rise today in solidarity with my sisters across the world who've committed their lives to public service. Within the last week, we've witnessed the horrific murder of UK Labour MP Joe Cox, alongside here in Canada targeted misogynistic attacks against Alberta Premier Notley. Throughout my campaign in seeking this office, I faced vitriolic and attacking speech, culminating in having to be escorted out of a forum by a good 10 people, while a man stood at the front exit screaming profanities at me while declaring that I was going to get it.
Well, everybody, she's talking about me, and it's an absolute lie. Let's break this down. Now, the whole thing is on video. She's lying about it, but the whole thing is on video that anyone can look it up and see. It's all over YouTube. It's got a lot of views. A lot of people have watched it, and obviously she thinks very little of her supporters. Now, the raw video runs for another 15 minutes or so and shows that this did not happen. None of what she says actually happened. I simply asked her a question regarding her support of the NDP considering their attack on First Nations people when it comes to the CFS system. In Manitoba, where 11,000 children are in care, 90% First Nations, and while only around 11% of Manitoba's actual population is First Nation, so it's obviously insane target on First Nation people's heads, where, you know, she worked with missing and murdered women at the Manitoba Legislative Building, but a good majority of those missing and murdered came through the CFS system, and she said that she never once spoke with Mr. Selinger about this, and that she didn't agree with the CFS system, but then she's running with the NDP and she's running on their platform for the CFS system, so it's just absurd. So it's worth asking, considering she's talked mostly about First Nations issues. She didn't actually answer the question. She just gave a personal sob story that didn't relate and claimed she didn't talk to Selinger about it. I rephrased the question and she got triggered by the question and walked out of the forum. Now, anyone can see this on video. It's all there. Now, Noel Bernier, the Liberal candidate, left with her. Most of the crowd left with her, but they weren't doing it out of protection. They did it because most of the crowd were her supporters. A lot of NDP people in that crowd that night. And the video shows her walking out. I never screamed profanity, not even once. No one was blocking the door in any way. People from her campaign were harassing the cameraman, to which he told one of them to fuck off. Not loudly, but the guy was getting in his face and being threatening to him and harassing him, so he basically just told him, fuck off. I don't blame him. He came to videotape my question. And, you know, he shouldn't have been even involved in getting pushed around. I mean, the fact is, he is a cameraman. We are the press. We are reporting on a debate, a forum, during question period to get answers out of someone who's running for public office and is now hiding behind the stone walls of the legislative building. Now, she later changed the story a bit to being threatened outside instead of simply at the front exit once I posted a statement about her claims in session. But all of those that disapproved of her stayed inside according to the footage that only the Winnipeg Sun loosely mentions without linking, while CBC doesn't even acknowledge it, nor does the Free Press, which is come on. It's the most simple task when it comes to being a reporter is just sourcing it out. Call the people involved. Ask them a question. That's your job. Us taxpayers are being forced to pay into this propaganda machine called the CBC, and they can't even do a simple job, which is asking me a question. And of course, this has happened on so many occasions. We'll get into that in a bit. But by the way, who says you're going to get it? I mean, what is this, like a kindergarten teacher? Like, it sounds like bullshit to me. If anything, perhaps, since it was a few days before the election, someone may have told her that she's going to lose. Like, oh, you're going to get it in this election. And of course she didn't, unfortunately. But perhaps that's what she meant. But she wants so much to be a victim that she just decided to remember it like that. Now, I've had time to cool off about this because I was furious about this last night when I saw this happen in session. That was all over the CBC, and she's pushing this victim persona, and it's nothing new with her. She's just your average SJW. Now, PC candidate Barbara Judd remained at the table to answer questions. She wasn't attacked. No one was attacked. I asked a question. She couldn't. Nahanni Fontaine couldn't answer it, so she left the middle of the debate. Talk about a thin skin. It's freaking ridiculous. She was running for office. Now she's in office. And now she's lying to session and misleading session. Now, Nahanni also claims that she's been threatened, or was it just people asking a public servant a question? Apparently she got a phone call saying that she better watch what she says in session. I don't put a lot of faith in her word, obviously, because she's lying in the media and in session about me, and I'm obviously not happy about it. Now, speaking of threaten and intimidate, Nahanni, mind explaining why in the aftermath of you walking out, your aides were seen following door-to-door PC campaigners, taking pictures and intimidating? No, this actually happened. This woman that actually approached me after I asked Nahanni Fontaine a question at the debate. Again, debate. I can't believe I'm even having to mention this. This woman started yelling at me about how I somehow don't like Native people. I don't stand for them or whatever like that. Which is ridiculous because my whole basis was the fact that Nahanni Fontaine is always talking about assimilation of First Nations people into white culture, but then ignores the most obvious example of that, which is CFS taking disproportionate amounts of First Nations children away from families, putting them in white families, putting them in hotels where they end up in gangs, where they end up missing and murdered. It's a no-brainer to look into this when it seems to be the root cause of the problem you claim to be wanting to solve. Instead of going into session, showing pictures of missing people, missing women, how about you do something about the root cause and stop perpetuating this BS? It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, her aides, I'm not going to say that she sent him after because I want to dodge any kind of libel here. Because, I mean, she was borderline slandering me. She just didn't mention my name. And she's lucky because I would have done something about this. But she sent people after PC door-to-door people handing out flyers and had them intimidating, flexing their muscles, taking pictures, videotaping, following them around in a truck, in another car. And in the pictures that the PC door-to-door people took, it's clear that the person driving one of the cars was her main aide. Oh, it's ridiculous. And then she actually went to Manitoba elections and made a report about me, according to the Free Press. She somehow reported that I was threatening to her. I was asking her a damn question, and she couldn't answer it because she doesn't have an answer. So she ran away like a little wuss because she's thin-skinned. And I'm not afraid of saying that about women because I say that about anyone who's running for office and can't answer a freaking question by the public. Now, Nahanni chalks everything up to being oppressed as a woman. She uses UK Labour MP Joe Cox's murder and criticism of Alberta Premier Rachel Notley as an example. Because, there's no reason to criticize them for horrible freaking policy. Like, Notley is basically drowning Alberta. People of Alberta are speaking out, and she's basically saying that their word means nothing because she's a woman. These bureaucratic control freaks have no limits. The idiocy is unbelievable. I wish I could just blame all criticism I get on being a man. Do you know how much of a load that would be off my back? Just like, oh, everyone that's complaining about me, the influx of dozens and dozens of messages every single day against me, criticizing me for my views and for my videos and for my statuses and for whatever. I wish I could just say, oh yeah, that's all because I'm a man, I'm a white man, I'm so oppressed, I don't have an ability to have an opinion. But that's not the case, obviously, and I have to answer for my actions and give reasoning and give detail as to why I say the things I do. But she is just going, well, I'm a woman, so I can be beyond reason. I don't have to reason things out. I'm going to blame every single bit of criticism on being a woman because that's just such a great scapegoat, and I'm so oppressed. That's why people don't like what I have to say. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm full of shit. It has nothing to do with the fact that I don't actually know anything, and for that reason, I'm going to just base everything on being, criticized because I'm a woman. Not because what I'm saying is freaking ridiculous. She has no idea what she's doing in the legislative building, so she makes stuff up, plays the misogyny and race card, and is incapable of doing anything outside of knee-jerk emotional reactions. That's what these people are, just knee-jerk reactionaries. They don't have any facts to give, so they basically instead they push this kind of victim, I'm so victimized because people don't agree with me. Well, how about reading a book and learning something, and then maybe you won't get criticized as much. Oh wait, you still will, and then you'll actually have answers to give people for these criticisms. Now, you know who acts on emotions and not logic? Small children. Oh, well, he hurt my feelings, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's leave that for the schoolyard. We're grown adults. Let's act like it. Now, this should outrage her supporters most of all. It insults their intelligence. The whole video is up online to see. Anyone can watch the video and see that she is actually lying. I mean, she must think that her supporters are just completely mentally ill, can't process information, can't go online and look things up. It's just a big FU to her supporters, I think. What can you expect from her? And if the mainstream news actually wants to report the truth on this, like they reported the fallacy without a thought of actually researching and watching the #1 video with her name on it online, I will offer the entire uncut video to research, which includes the moments before and after I spoke, showing that she's full of shit. Everyone that I was with at that event stayed inside with me when she left. They didn't approach her. She left. You could see it on video. She went out the door. She was all good. We continued to talk about her conduct after she left. Talk about privilege, just blaming everything on being a woman and getting an entire CBC, Free Press, Winnipeg Sun article about you. Now, CBC, Free Press, CTV Global, whatever, Winnipeg Sun, step up if you actually care about the truth. Then again, you already know about my side as we've spoken on the phone about it. You guys have borderline slandered me, literally, about a dozen times spanning several different events I've been involved in without a thought of actually asking me about my side. Do you know how many times they've aired a story on the news about me or about my event and didn't even think about, I don't know, giving me a call, asking me what's up, getting my side of the story? No, that's not what they're about. They're state-run propaganda media, subsidized BS, talking points that are supposed to stick in people's heads, and then they remember it and repeat it themselves in their conversation without actually doing any research themselves. Now, this is my demand for this video. I demand Nahanni Fontaine apologizes and admits she lied. This isn't about man versus women. This is about calling out a lie when you see one. And until she does, I personally wouldn't even believe she got a threatening phone call like she claims she did. Of course, if someone did call her office and threaten her in one way or another, shame on them. But knowing the way she reacts to things, I'll have to see some proof first. You can't trust these collectivist fools. And that is another reason why people have to stop worshiping the state. Statism is a religion, folks. It's one of the most dangerous religions on the planet. Hundreds of millions of people have died at the hands of the state. And it's about time that you question the state, stop taking everything for gospel, and realize that a lot of these people in government are just a bunch of children. They're either stupid or evil, one or the other. But the point is, they are ruling you with an iron fist and telling you what you can and can't do with your life. You have to say, I do not consent to being forced into this coercive state that uses me as a pawn because, you know, some people had a harebrained idea and you got to force it on everybody else because collectivism, right? The greater good of the greater number. Well, you know what? I think that the most important people out there are you, the individual, not the group, because, you know, two wolves and a sheep deciding what to have for dinner isn't exactly fair, is it? Let's think about that. Share this video around anyway, and you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and of course at worldalternativemedia.com. You can donate at our GoFundMe, Wham Needs Your Help, and pledge at Patreon as well. So just check the links below and share this video around. Let's expose liars where they stand, because this cannot go on much longer. We've been used for far too long. Let's stand up for ourselves. See you next time.